Now moving to the next slide, Caesar and Cleopatra has no particular theme. This is one of his very famous plays, Caesar and Cleopatra, has no particular theme, and that is why it comes nearer to being a play than most of Shaw's works. Another example is in the Apple cart show. Shaw ridiculed the working of democratic form of government and hinted that it needed a Superman to set things right. It was in St. John Shaw reached the highest level of his dramatic art by dealing in a tragic manner a universal theme involving grand emotions. Another dramatist who took an important part in the revival of drama in the later part of the 19th century was Oscar Wilde. So this is another important dramatist, Oscar Wilde. So that part is about Oscar Wilde. It was only during the last 5 years of his life that he turned his attention to writing for the stage. During his lifetime, his plays became very popular, and they were thought to represent a high mark in English drama. But their importance was exaggerated because they are merely the work of a skilled craftsman. It was mainly on account of their style, graceful, polished, and full of wit, that they appealed to the audience. Oscar Wilde had the tact of discovering the passing mood of the tune and expressing it gratefully. Otherwise, his plays are all superficial, and none of them adds to our knowledge or understanding of life. The situation he presents in his plays are hackneyed and borrowed from French plays of intrigue. Now moving to the next slide to see some examples, some of the plays of Oscar Wilde. Starting with Lady Windermere Fan, or A Woman of No Importance, also An Ideal Husband, and The Importance of Being Earnest, and this is one of his most famous plays. The Importance of Being Earnest are the 4 important comedies of Wilde. So these are the 4 important comedies of Oscar Wilde. The first 3 plays are built on the model of the conventional social melodramas of the time. They are giving sparkle and literary interest by the flashing wit of the dialogue. The Importance of Being Earnest, on the other hand, is built on the model of the popular farce of the time. Wilde calls this a trivial comedy for serious people. It is successful because of its detachment from all meaning and models. In fact, this play proved to Wilde that the graceful foolery of farce was the form which was best suited to the expression of his dramatic genius. Now, another important writer is Galsworthy. As you see, Galsworthy, he was also a great dramatist of modern times, who, besides being a novelist of the first rank, made his mark also in the field of drama. So he started as a novelist, and he was very famous as being a novelist, but definitely also everyone knows who is Galsworthy in the field of drama. So he made his mark also in the field of drama. He believed in the naturalistic technique both in the novel and the drama. According to him, naturalistic art is like a steady lamp held up from time to time, in whose light things will be seen for a space clearly in due proportions, freed from the mists of the prejudice and partnership. Now, Galsworthy desired to reproduce, both upon the stage and in his book, the natural spectacle of life, presented with detachment, of course, his delicate sympathies for the poor and unprivileged classes make his heart melt for them, and he takes sides with them. And this is very important about Galsworthy, that he is all the time taking the side of the poor, feeling that the poor people do not have the rights which are supposed to have, right? So those people for him are not having the rights to have good education. They are not having the rights to even to live as human beings, to be treated in a respectable way, to get good salaries and all these things. So that's why he is all the time sympathizing and supporting them. Now, Galsworthy was a great dramatist of modern times, as we said, who, beside being a novelist in the first rank, made his mark also in the field of drama, and he believed in the naturalistic technique, both in the novel and drama. According to him, naturalistic art is like a steady lamp held up from time to time, in whose light things will be seen for a space clearly in due proportions, freed from the mists of the prejudice and partnership. Now, Galsworthy desired to reproduce, both upon the stage and in his books, the natural spectacle of life, presented with detachment. Of course, has the delicate sympathies for the poor and the privileged classes make his heart melt, as we said. Now, the important plays of Galsworthy are Strike, and this was written in 1909. Another play is Justice, which was written also in 1910. Again, another play, The Skin Game, and The Silver Books. And The Silver Books actually is the most famous play to him, the most known play to Galsworthy. All these plays deal with social and ethical problems. Strike deals with the problem of strikes, which are not only futile but do immense harm to both the parties. The Skin Game presents the conflict between the old established class. Justice is a severe criticism of the prison administration of that period. So, and again, as I said, the most famous play to him is The Silver Books.